Picture this, a quiet Amish kitchen, lit by the soft glow of morning sunlight through a small window. On the wooden table sits a large metal pot, slowly steaming. Nearby, a woman in a bonnet stirs with a long-handled spoon, her movements steady and patient. There's no hum of a refrigerator, no electric gadgets, just silence, skill, and the faint smell of warm milk turning into something extraordinary. This is how the Amish make cheese, by hand, from scratch, and without chemicals or electricity. And here's the fascinating part. Some of their cheeses can last for years, even without modern refrigeration. Today, we'll uncover exactly how they do it, the old-fashioned way that's as much an art form as it is a science of self-sufficiency. For Amish families, food preservation is a way of life. Every season brings new abundance, and with it, the need to store food for the long winter months. Milk, being one of the most perishable foods, has always presented a challenge. But for centuries, the Amish have turned this challenge into one of their greatest strengths, by transforming milk into cheese. Cheese isn't just a food, it's a preserved form of nutrition. Packed with fat, protein, and calcium, it can sustain families for months when fresh milk is scarce. In many Amish communities, cheese making is a daily rhythm. A few gallons of milk from the morning milking go straight into the pot before the day's work begins. By nightfall, that same milk has become a firm wheel of cheese, ready to age, store, or share. Step 1. Fresh, raw milk. The Amish start with something most modern cheesemakers rarely use: raw, unpasteurized milk, because their cows are raised naturally, grass-fed, hand-milked, and well cared for. The milk is rich, clean, and full of natural bacteria that help the cheese develop its unique flavor and long shelf life. Every batch begins the same way: early morning milking. The milk is collected into large metal pails, then filtered through cheesecloth to remove impurities. There's no need for pasteurization or additives. The milk's natural enzymes do the work, setting the stage for fermentation and preservation. Step 2. Warming the milk. Next comes the gentle heating. Since there's no electric stove, the Amish use wood-burning stoves, or open flame to heat the milk. The process is slow, deliberate, and never rushed. They warm it to just about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, the perfect temperature to encourage the growth of friendly bacteria that convert milk sugars into lactic acid. This acidification is key. It changes the milk's structure and creates an environment that harmful bacteria can't survive in, the foundation of long-term preservation. Step 3. The natural coagulant. Once the milk reaches the right temperature, it's time to add the coagulant, traditionally, rennet. Amish families often make rennet themselves, using natural enzymes from the stomach lining of calves or lambs. A small amount is diluted in water and stirred into the warm milk. Within an hour, the milk thickens into a gel-like consistency, the curd. The liquid that remains is whey, which the Amish never waste. It's fed to animals, used in baking, or even added to soups for extra nutrition. Step 4. Cutting the curd. Now comes the most satisfying part: cutting the curd. Using long, thin knives or wires, the Amish carefully slice through the curd to release more whey. The smaller the pieces, the drier and firmer the cheese will become. Each cut requires patience and precision, as the consistency determines the final texture, whether it'll be a soft cheese like farmer's cheese or a firm one like cheddar. At this point, the kitchen smells faintly tangy and warm. You can almost feel the transformation happening, milk turning into solid food before your eyes. Step 5. Stirring and heating again. The curds are gently stirred and heated a second time, this time to around 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. This step helps the curds firm up while driving out excess moisture. The Amish never rush this part. They stir slowly, listening for the sound of curds moving through the whey, judging doneness by texture and feel. There's no timer, no thermometer beeping, just experience passed down through generations. Step 6. Draining and pressing. Once the curds reach the perfect consistency, the whey is drained off. The curds are then poured into wooden or metal molds lined with cheesecloth. These molds are placed under a simple hand press, often just a wooden lever weighted with stones. The pressure slowly pushes out the remaining liquid while shaping the cheese into a firm wheel. This pressing can take anywhere from several hours to overnight depending on the cheese type. The result, a smooth, solid block of young cheese, ready for aging. Now comes preservation magic. Salt. The Amish use coarse natural salt, never iodized or bleached. It's rubbed generously across the surface of the cheese, sometimes multiple times over several days. Salt not only adds flavor, but draws out moisture and forms a natural barrier against bacteria. It also helps the cheese develop its rind, the protective outer layer that seals freshness inside. Once salted, the cheese is left to dry for a few days in a cool, shaded space, usually in a pantry or cellar. Step 8. Aging without refrigeration. This is where the Amish method truly shines. Instead of relying on electric coolers, they use root cellars or aging rooms, cool, dark, and slightly humid environments, much like their vegetable cellars. Cheese wheels are stacked on wooden shelves, spaced apart for airflow. Over weeks and months they transform. The flavor deepens, the texture firms, and a natural rind forms, protecting the interior. Temperature and humidity are maintained through natural insulation, thick walls, stone floors, and air vents that allow gentle circulation. In these perfect conditions, cheese can last not just months, but years. Some Amish families proudly keep aged cheddar or Swiss cheese from previous seasons, prized for its rich, nutty flavor and dense texture. For very long storage, the Amish use two traditional sealing methods. First, cheese waxing. After aging, the cheese wheel is dipped into melted beeswax. The wax seals out air and bacteria, preserving the cheese for years if kept cool and dry. Second, larding. An even duster, older method. This involves coating the cheese rind with a thin layer of lard, or pork fat, and wrapping it in cloth. It's then aged further, protected by the fat barrier. These natural coatings achieve what modern vacuum sealing does, without plastic, machines, or chemicals. Properly aged and sealed Amish cheese can remain good for several years, developing complex, sharp flavors over time. Simplicity and safety. You might wonder, is this really safe without refrigeration? Well, the answer is yes, when done correctly. The key lies in pH balance, salt, and airflow. Each step, from fermentation to pressing and salting, prevents spoilage by creating conditions where harmful bacteria simply can't survive. Generations of Amish families have relied on this exact process, eating their own cheese year-round without ever plugging in a fridge. Ardebons, Surtsin Obwanstan. Faith, patience, and purpose. Cheesemaking in Amish life isn't just practical, it's deeply meaningful. It teaches patience, discipline, and gratitude. The process takes time, days to prepare, months to age, but the reward is lasting nourishment. Amish mothers often teach daughters this skill as part of home life, much like sewing or bread baking. Each batch carries the family's identity, a blend of inherited wisdom and personal touch. The entire process reflects their faith in simple living and self-reliance. Every wheel of cheese is a quiet symbol of abundance achieved through humility and hard work. Lessons for modern life. Even if you're not Amish, there's something powerful here. Food made slowly, naturally, and intentionally tends to last longer, and honestly, taste better. You don't need to start a dairy farm, but small steps like fermenting, canning, or drying can bring that same sense of connection and sustainability into daily life. The Amish remind us that technology isn't the only way to preserve food. Wisdom is. Closing reflection. As the day ends, the Amish kitchen grows quiet again. A fresh wheel of cheese rests on the table, still warm, ready to be aged. Outside, cows settle in the barn, and the scent of wood smoke fills the air. No machines, no chemicals, just hands, patience, and faith, transforming something simple into something lasting. That's the beauty of Amish life, and the secret to cheese that can last for years without a fridge.